What's up, my boy?
What up, what up, what up?
Yo, welcome to Funky Funny Tuesdays. It's your boy, George Perez. We got Tony A in the house. What's up,
Tony
my boy?
A, the wizard.
What's up, my brother? How you doing, man? Pleasure to meet you.
Round of applause.
Thankful to be here.
Now, hey, man, it's like, it's weird because, like, before you got here, I only thought of N.W.A. straight out of Compton is how it started, how you were telling me, like, so, hey, dog, this is, people, be ready for this. Right now, put the hot pocket on the floor. Fucking push pause on our LeBeau. We're gonna go hard right now. So, you're saying that you used to sell mixtapes?
Yes, sir.
With
Yes, sir.
Dre, Cube, MC Ren, Yella. Like, was the DLC like back then? Like, did he come from Dallas yet down here?
Actually, when I met Dr. Dre, EAZY-E, Ren, Sir Jinx, the DLC wasn't here from Texas yet.
Okay.
And he was on a group called the Feel a Fresh Crew.
Okay.
I was about 19 years old when I met them. I began to do mixtapes around 1987 when Supersonic had just came out.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and now Dr. Dre, when he had left the World Class Wrecking Crew, he started doing mixtapes for a certain vendor at the swamp meet named Steve Yano, a Japanese man who was raised up in Whittier, which I like to say he was more Mexican actually than he was Japanese. You know?
He's one of those, huh?
He looked like a stone Mexican.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the funny thing
Filipino,
is,
perhaps.
yes, the funny thing is, my brother used to always tell him, Steve, are you Japanese or are you a sleepy ass Mexican? And he goes, I'm a sleepy ass Mexican. So this guy Steve actually had a great idea what he wanted to do. Not only sell records, not only sell cassettes, not only sell whatever the case may be, but he wanted to put some of the latest songs on cassettes and have Dr. Dre mix them. So Dr. Dre actually did mixtapes for this man from 84 to I want to say to 87. So
Man,
like,
so we're talking, I was barely fucking born in 84.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was training, right? Like,
Yes.
like he was like in the gutter, like, hey,
yes.
homie, I'm coming.
And what made these tapes so unique was not only was he cutting and scratching, but he was also rapping on them. He would have mentioned, yo, what's up? This is Dr. Dre, chilling with Steve here at the Roadium in the city of Gardena, and I'm about to tear shit up. And in 87, I went to go just to go hang out with this man Steve. You know, I've been knowing him since I've been 11 years old.
Are you a DJ at this time now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And you've been in the game for how long?
Well, since I've been 11 years old and I'm 50 now.
Fuck.
Shit.
And you're 17 at the time.
Yeah. Yes. 19. I'm sorry.
Oh, 19. So you're 8 years in.
Yes.
Ooh.
So what
Young,
happened?
dude. Young, huh?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy shit.
You know, but my very first job was actually selling records for Steve at the swamp meet.
What swap meet was this? If you don't mind us asking.
This was the Vermont Swap Meet in the city of Gardena. And if anybody knows what the Vermont Swap Meet is, it's no longer there, but it used to be in front of a racetrack called Ascot, where they used to actually race cars.
Okay.
Well, that closed down. Steve moved to the Roadium Swap Meet, which is also in the city of Gardena. But I couldn't go. I was just still a youngster. You know, I worked with them from 11 to 13. So how I first heard that Dre was doing these mixtapes was that one of my friends had a tape called 85 Live. So Dre was rapping on it. Now at this time, I knew Dre from the World Class Wrecking Crew. Mm-hmm. You know, I didn't know him as N.W.A. So I went to go pay my friend Steve a visit. Keep in mind, I hadn't seen him since I was 13 years old. So I went to go see him. He recognized me right away. First thing he asked me, what are you doing now? I said, I DJ. Can you tear it up? I said, yeah. He had 2 turntables at a stand and a mixer, Newmark mixer. So I went started.
Techniques?
Correct. Technique 1200s. I started cutting it up. Drake tapped me on the shoulder and he tells me, hey man, you did a dope job. I'm going to give you my cousin's number and I want you to do some scratching on a song that he's producing.
Oh,
wow. Now, his cousin is actually Jinx, who produced a lot of stuff
Jinx?
for Ice Cube.
He was the guy that was dressed like New York in the movie, right?
Yeah, and straight out of Compton, Dre actually goes to live with him. Around that time is when I was going over there.
Oh, okay.
So what happened was, I ended up doing scratching in 1987 for a rapper named EAZY-E on a song called Turn It Up, okay? And what happened was the owner of VIP Records was the executive producer for that song. So not only do I have history with Dre and Jinx, but also with the owner of VIP Records from Long Beach.
Shit, I was about to ask that.
Yes, and
that's not around no more, right?
No, actually it is. The sign, the historic sign, is no longer up there anymore. It's a 7-Eleven.
Oh wow!
Some Chinese people bought it.
But a lot of people might recognize VIP Records from a video that Snoop Dogg was on top of the roof.
Yes.
Sea walking, right? I believe, or
yes. So in '87, Dre pretty much just said, "I'm gonna get busy producing a record for Eric. So he introduces me to EAZY-E. But at that time, I only knew him as Eric. I didn't know that he would be this megastar.
Yeah,
so this is before N.W.A. time.
Correct.
Yeah. Now, EAZY-E, describe him. Was he like a? People say he was like a cholo crip.
You know what's funny, man? Because I'm gonna say something that I've never said on the air. Okay, and this was told to me by his publicist that is about to be my publicist for this new documentary that I'm working on. And she said this, that when EAZY-E's last days, that he loved being around Mexicans, that he only trusted Mexicans.
Wow.
Now, she revealed something to me that there was a hit on him by the KKK. She received a letter from the FBI.
Fuck.
That there was a hit on him to be careful. Okay?
Shit, that's crazy.
He told this woman, this publicist, said, if they kill me, the Mexicans will riot. Because
straight up,
that's what he
straight
said.
Up, the raza. He was.
Yes.
We loved. He was like the only black guy that could be with the chola in that era. And like,
exactly, bro.
It's cool.
I was bad back then. I was different in the 90s, man.
EAZY-E was a really, to me, he was a really good dude. There's two
charisma,
people. Yes, there's two people out of that entire group that to me never changed. It was Dr. Dre and EAZY-E, and those two always remained the same. Like, they would talk to me. I mean, for Dr. Dre to be producing Above the Law, JJ Fad, the DOC, the Michelet, to sit there and play a track for me and ask me, what do you think? You know, what do you think it needs?
That's people, you don't understand, all those names he's mentioned are Hall of Fame. Michelet even had a kid with Suge Knight and Dr. Dre, right?
And Dr. Dre, yeah.
That's history right here, man. This is like the untold story.
Yeah, you know, and I recorded the High C album, half of that High C album, at Audio Achievements in the city of Torrance. A lot of people think that studio where they recorded that was like in Hollywood or Compton. No, it was in the city of Torrance, actually in a white area. In the movie, obviously, they used a different building. That wasn't it. But, yeah, I recorded there, and I was there when he did the, I'm not going to say all of it, but at least half of those albums, I was there.
Hey, is High C? I heard he's Mexican somehow or Latino or something.
No, you know what's a funny story? We did a lot of traveling. I was about 22 years old, and me and him, you know, our album had already came out, and we traveled a lot. By the time I was 22 years old, I had already DJed at some of the biggest stadiums and nightclubs everywhere, okay?
Yeah.
And I remember we flew to like Sacramento or Vallejo or somewhere up north.
Oh, wow.
And I remember we were signing autographs, and this one girl walks up to him and tells him, hey, man, so are you Mexican? And he said, no. She said, are you half? He says, no. And she says, then what are you then? He says, I'm just black. She goes, oh.
Right? He looked like a real ripe, but he was just ripe.
How did you meet High C? How did you guys?
It was funny, man, because, okay, keep in mind, on my mixtapes that I started from 87 to like 91, not only did Dr. Dre, EAZY-E, Ice Cube, Ren, Tone Loc, JJ Fad, High C, well, let me get to that. Not only did those guys rap on them, but when they began to tour, the guy who was set on them, Steve, actually tells me, we don't have anybody to rap on him anymore. We got to find somebody. I know this blood. He's from Compton, and he's selling clothes at the end of the swamp meet. Why don't you go talk to him? He's been bugging me that he wants you to listen to him.
That's High C.
You know, but it was funny because High C actually thought that Tony A was a black guy. You know,
wow,
yeah. So I went over there and I said, "Hey, man, so is your name Crawford?" Because that was his name. He went to Centennial High School in the city of Compton, and so I introduced myself to him, and he said, "Who are you?" And I said, "I'm Tony A." And his eyes opened up, you know, like he didn't know it was me.
Yeah.
He goes, "Oh man, your mixes are tight. I want to rap on them." And I said, "Okay, come to my house." And he drove from Compton to Wilmington, and he rapped. I remember the very first song that he ever rapped was a song called "I'm Hard," and I'll be honest, I kind of really didn't like it. But he was only like in 12th grade. He was like 16, 17 years old. I look back now, and he was just a kid, you know. So I told Steve, look, man, I don't really like him, but let's just throw him on. And I remember he rapped to an instrumental to Funky Cold Medina by Tone Loc. And, you know, I thought it was okay. He rapped on another one. And by that time, I said, let's name the next one High C. Let's just try to get his name out there. I didn't realize that we were developing an artist without even trying.
Yeah.
You know?
This is in the 80s, right? Late 80s?
Yes,
we're talking about
correct.
Just to give people, the listeners out there.
We've never been in a studio. He's never been around what's about to go down.
Yes. So one day he showed up to my house. We're in the midst of doing a mixtape. And now keep in mind, these mixtapes, not only did they contain some of the latest songs, but the first 3 minutes was like a mega mix that I did on a 4-track. For years, everybody thought I was using 4 turntables.
Oh, shit.
Everybody thought, man, how are you that quick? Do you have your records all out and everything? Like no, I just never told anybody my secret. At that time, no one knew what we were using. You heard 4 or 5 songs at one time, and somebody rapping over them. It was unheard of.
Going on.
Yeah. So what happened was, I had a record called Aslan Oldies. I had 2 of them. I had doubles of everything. And what happened was, I started mixing I'm Your Puppet, that oldie. Uh-huh. I had 2 of them, so I started cutting it back and forth. High C picks up the mic, and he just starts freestyling. Well, Steve, being a oldie freak, the Mexican that he is, he loved it. He really loved it. And he said, man, let's do some shit like that. That's what he said. And I said, okay, well, what do you want to call it? He said, I don't know. Well, High C goes, why don't we just do I'm Not Your Puppet, kind of like an answer back. Yeah. And I said, yeah, we'll talk about a girl that's clucking and, And so we did that song, which was like back then like 8 minutes long. We didn't know how long the song could be, So we did it for a mixtape. So he says, let's do on the other mixtape, he says, let's do a follow-up to that song. Now, up to this point, all we had was just a street buzz. We're still talking late 80s now.
Yeah.
So he said, let's do another one. All I did was grab the same record, I flipped it over.
Sitting in the Park.
Sitting in the Park was there.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So we did it. By that time now, a couple of months passed by. Somebody named Stewart from Disney now, one of the biggest companies in the world, opened up a record label called Hollywood Records. So they came with a cassette, and they asked Steve, the vendor, who did this cassette. Uh-huh. We thought it was like FBI or somebody going to bust us for bootlegs.
You guys are kids, and these guys coming into the swamp.
Yes.
Like that.
So we were afraid. Well, Steve right away says he did it. And I said, yeah, but he sells them, Yeah. Well, what happened was he said, well, I want to sign this. He said, my name is Stewart. I work for Hollywood Records.
Shit.
I work for Disney, and we're interested in signing you guys. We would like to have a meeting. Now, to speed up, to be quite honest, we ended up getting a record deal from a mixtape when we weren't even really looking for one.
Yeah, you were just looking for what, street buzz?
That's
street
all
cred?
it was. I was getting paid $200 for each cassette that I was making for Steve. And
That's
Steve,
a lot of money back then, too.
But still, right now, that's for what you would have been doing, you probably get 10 G's off the top.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, exactly. And keep in mind, when I met High C, he introduced me to DJ Quick. He introduced me to AMG. He introduced me to Second to None. So our last mixtape, my last mixtape together was something called Bullshit. People always ask me, how did you name your cassettes, your mixtapes, whatever was going on at the time. I remember one time I was selling dope, out of my alley. So Steve said, let's name it Dope Beats. I said, all right. He pays me, and I said, and with this, I'm going to go recop. I'm going to go buy some more.
Yeah,
pay me $200. And he goes, we'll name the next one Recop.
Oh, shit.
So that's how we named it. So one day we all got together, me, Quick, Second to None. Now, they're all teenagers still. And we were just sitting around bullshitting, and Steve goes, that's the name of the next tape, Bullshit. Damn. Well, not knowing that would be our last mixtape, it featured DJ Quick, Second to None, AMG, High C, because we all got record deals now. We all got record deals pretty much all at the same time.
Yeah, I grew up on all that shit. Well, hey, doggy, let's drop some jams. We're talking about jams.
No, there's history up in this.
Hell yeah, we're gonna drop some jams right now. Re-up a little bit. Man, I got a question to come back on. DJ Quick's from 200 Block Bloods, right?
Well, Treetop.
Yeah, Treetop, but it's 200 Block. And YG's from 400 Block. They're the same, and they haven't done a song together.
Well,
who knows?
Maybe that's a question for DJ Quick, huh?
They might have some stuff unreleased. A lot of artists do unreleased stuff. So
shit. That's what's up. You ready to drop some shit, my boy?
Let's do it.
All right, you guys. Hey, we'll be back in the mix. We're in the house right here with Tony A. Y'all fools don't even know.
Yo, what up? Tony A. in the building, and you are listening to Funkin' Funny Tuesdays.
That's what's up, everybody. We're jamming out. Welcome back to Funk and Funny Tuesdays. This podcast is brought to you guys by Bzzzt Weed, first class weed, the real moon rocks, and traveling high concentrates.
Man.
Yes. You know what? Let me give a quick shout out to our listener out in Jordan.
Yes, that's what's up.
Yes,
what's your name?
Jacina.
Hi.
Yes, he said she was out in Jordan. She was listening. She was tuned in, and that's real dope to have somebody from the other side of the world tuned in.
That's what's up, man. Much love to Jacina, right?
Yes, that's right.
That's what's up.
Yeah, on my other podcast right now, I got a lot of fools from like Europe in like United Kingdom, Australia, where else?
A little Mexico, a little bit, you know.
And
they're
like,
representing
some fools from like Transylvania. Like I don't know where
Transylvania. That was probably Bela Lugosi's nephews or somebody. You know what I'm saying?
It's a trip because like those fools be like, hey. No, everybody over here thought it was a bandana. They didn't know what a paño was.
Right,
right. You know what I mean? It's weird how like we attract to other things, and like people. I don't think you understand. This guy right here is like he has the holy grail of how hip hop started on the West Coast.
That's
LA.
dope, dude.
Yes,
like, that's
yes.
respect,
Now,
man.
I want to go back to when you were selling these mixtapes. So you talked about EAZY-E and Dre didn't change. Ice Cube changed. Like I could see how he changed.
Well, you know the thing about Ice Cube is that the few times that I was there when he was there in the studio, we rarely ever talked. He was a real quiet guy.
I could see that.
And Ren was a very quiet guy. But I guess Ice Cube maybe was just more reserved. They didn't want to talk about around certain people. Ren was just a natural quiet guy. You know, okay. It's funny because in the documentary that I'm working on, I was asked, "What's one of your favorite?" You know, I was asked. One of your favorite Dre moments, EAZY-E moments, Ice Cube moments, and Yella Ren. One day I walked into a club in Hollywood, and now keep in mind I was the only Mexican in there. Everybody else was black. Okay, yeah. Somebody like yelled out Tony A, and I turned around and it was Ren, and I was shocked because in the studio he didn't even talk to me.
Yeah.
You know, but he's like Tony A. He got up and he hugged me, embraced me. You know, but I just thought that was love. That was dope.
Yeah.
You know, but it was just funny that I would see him in the studio. He wouldn't really say much, but outside the studio, he reached out.
And this is in L.A.?
Yes, in L.A. Yes.
That's probably the only time you were ever the only Mexican anywhere.
Yeah, exactly, because now it's reversed.
Yeah.
It's all reversed.
And talking on that note, like, how do you, or how was it, you know, coming up, Mexicano, Latino, you know what I mean?
Right.
When that was popping
in
off.
In a black world, straight
up.
I guess hip-hop rap is a period.
That was another question I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
Like, what's your intake on how they label now Chicano rap?
Well, let me say this: there was a small percent of blacks that did discriminate against me.
Yeah,
you know,
it's natural because
right.
the homies probably did something to them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You know, and some of them would say stuff like that. Well, you're Mexican. What do you know? You know, this is a black thing.
Yeah.
You know, but I'll be honest with you. I didn't really give a shit because I knew, number one, I was dope on the turntables.
Yeah, you could back it up.
Yeah, number two, I knew how to produce. You know, so that didn't really bother me. But the majority of everybody else showed me nothing but love. You know, nothing but love. So, like I said, it was just that small percentage. But it was weird at times because whenever I did shows with, like, for an example, Sir Jinx, he had a rapper at that time named EAZY-E, by the way, who's still rapping. And I would DJ. It's nothing but black people. You know.
Yeah.
I never felt out of place, but I saw people look at me like, what are you doing here? Because, you know, this is a black industry, and I was a minority in it. You know, but
in the beginning, it's very different. It's like, hey, dog, you guys are creating something that I would never, ever forget.
Right.
You know, like, hey, dog, we used to do push-ups to your song in Juvenile Hall. Like,
right.
It was the only thing us as Mexicans had. Like, hey, dog.
Yes.
Because we thought High C was Mexican, but now that we know a Mexican producer, it's like, fuck yeah.
Yes,
like,
yes. And it's funny because people, when they meet me, they always say, oh, you're a High C's DJ. Well, I'll be honest with you. I was more than, because I produced the entire album, all except two. DJ Quick actually produced 2 songs on there. Okay. I produced I'm Not Your Puppet, Sitting in the Park, Leave My Curls Alone, 2 at a time. I produced pretty much everything that was on the radio. Not only did I DJ for him, but I also did the mixtapes for him. I would get the mic checks for him. I would choreograph the show for him. So I did a lot that I never really got credit for.
Because he was so young at the time, right? And you already been in the game. You're like, look, homie, like, don't try to... Let me show you how this is set up.
Right, exactly. So, you know, but coming up in that era, it was priceless, man. It was priceless because nobody knew that N.W.A. when they were going to blow up. I remember when they brought their first 3 songs to Steve Yano, and this is to the Swamp Meet, and they asked them, play it and let us know what the crowd, the Swamp Meet, you know, the underground has to say. Mm-hmm. They brought them Fat Girl on My Jock and a song called LA is the Place, and on their side B was a song called Boys in the Hood.
Yeah.
Now, I remember Dre asking Steve Yano, which one is the one you're getting the most reaction from? And he said, forget LA's the place, forget Fat Girl on My Jock, Boys in the Hood. And to a certain extent, they were somewhat like, nah, we're going to try to go where LA is the place. Because on the original 12-inch, Boys in the Hood was on side B. It wasn't even the feature song. And he said, no, watch how I play. So it was Eazy's voice that was so different.
Yeah.
You know, so when he played it, the crowd was, who's that? Who's that? Who's that? And if you listen to the cutting and scratching on the hooks, that was Roadium stuff. Dre was already doing that stuff on Roadium mixtapes. So all he did was implement what he was doing on the mixtapes on those songs.
Oh.
That was his style.
Okay.
If you listen to songs like a song called Punk Shit on High C's album, I did a lot of cut and scratch, and all that was, mixtape stuff. Sitting in the park, I'm Not Your Puppet. I did a lot of cut and scratching. All of that style came from the mixtapes, and we pretty much, like Dre, came from mixtapes to vinyl. I came from mixtapes to vinyl.
Okay.
You know, so but let me say this. You know, when I first started producing, I really didn't know what I was doing, man. I was just a DJ.
Like, how did you do it? Did you have like a keyboard when you were little and you just started messing with it?
Nothing. I absolutely had nothing. It actually took me years to get my first pair of turntables. People actually asked, because I won battles with DJs before. So people asked me, how did you get good on the turntables? I'll be honest with you, man. Let's just say I went to school with you. I knew you had turntables, but I didn't really like you. I would befriend you just so that I can go on the weekends, give you $5. Hey, man, I need you to step outside, let me borrow your turntables for about 30 minutes.
Shit.
That's really,
hunger, man,
yeah?
that's really how I got started, okay?
Damn.
And it wasn't until later that I gathered up some money and I bought some used, beat up Technique 1200s.
Yeah, there was no offer up back then like these fuckers have now.
Exactly.
Internet for that matter.
Yeah, so I bought a brand new realistic mixer. And that's
were those your babies, dog? Like, did you save the box, the plastic?
Everything, bro, everything. And then I bought the reverb. Actually, the realistic reverb. That's what we used on the mixtapes.
I don't know what that is. Can you tell
like the
fans?
echo.
Okay.
Like the echo. Yeah. You know, it's funny because Mexicans, for some reason, love echo. Every time they would tell me,
hey, man, and shit like
they were like, hey, man, can you make me a mixtape? I want more bounce. I want cutie pie. I want bounce where I skate. Hey, man, can you put a little bit of the echo? Like, they just didn't want boom, cat. They want boom. They just wanted that echo in there, bro, and I was like, sure. Okay. So I implemented that a little bit on the mixtapes.
Okay.
But you know, so let me just share this story because it's pretty interesting. When I got a record deal, Steve tells me, "You're gonna start producing now." I told him, dude, I don't know how to produce. I just know how to do mixtapes. I don't know how to cut and scratch. And he said, well, I'm gonna take you to Dre's house, and he's gonna show you how to produce.
And this is the same, just Asian guy running that swap meet, selling tapes.
Yes.
That's taking.
Yes.
So it's like a circle of you guys.
Just to give people out there real quick, like if you guys don't get it, like this is back in the fucking 80s when like it was barely being introduced. It was like I don't even think it was like out there on the radio, nothing like that.
No, nothing.
Nah, K-Day was around back then, right?
Yeah, K-Day was around back then. But
there were AM.
Yeah, there were AM, and you were lucky enough to get the radio station, you know. You had to put a hanger or a piece of aluminum or something, you know. But, so he bought me a drum machine called the SB1200, you know, which only contained 10 seconds of sampling time. Today you have hours, okay, of sampling time on drum machines.
Insane.
Well, it was 10 seconds, and I remember going over to Dre's house, to his apartment in the city of Paramount, and I walked in, and I always tell this story because I always thought it was so odd that I walked in there and he had absolutely no furniture, no table, no chair, no couch, nothing. So I said, did you just really move in here? And he said, no, I've been here like 6 months. So I didn't bother to ask any more questions. Home. Yeah. So I said, well, what do I do with the drum machine? Go put it on the floor. We'll just lay on the floor and we'll. So I said, okay. Hooked up the mixer, hooked up the drum machine, the turntable, and we're both laying on our stomachs. And he's showing me how to sample, how to get the volume, how to press sample, how to repeat it, how to reverse it, how to whatever.
Damn, dude, getting fucking.
Yes, bro.
Laying down next to each other sampling, dog.
Yes, bro. So it's funny because he had a floppy disk. Back then we used floppy disks for drum machines. And I said, hey, you know what? Do you think I can get some of your sounds from your floppy disk, you know? And he said, well, you can have this one. So I said, well, where's your collection? He said, no, I just have one. He said, I use this one for the DLC, for the JJ Pad. He goes, I just use one. Now, I still have my whole collection of floppy disks, bro.
Damn.
You know, I keep them. I just didn't have one, you know. I thought that was kind of weird that he didn't keep a collection of his sounds. So he showed me how to program a beat, tempos, beat, you know, the beats per minute, etc. And the crazy thing is, when he started recording, to jump ahead, the Chronic album, I saw in a documentary where Snoop says, yeah, man, I went to Dre's house in Calabasas and he had no furniture there. So it was the same thing.
Oh, shit.
I guess he just didn't have any furniture.
He was probably never home. And, and I don't know, like, wasn't he going through, like, having a kid on that tour?
Well, you know what? I won't mention it, but I know Dre was having a lot of kids.
Yeah, okay.
So after that, one thing that he told me, he said, one thing about having 10 seconds on this drum machine, he said, it's going to force you to be creative because you're going to have to be wise on utilizing your sampling time. Okay? Now, if you look, so many people, like for an example, off of that drum machine, he did the Michelet, he did the EAZY-E, he did the N.W.A, he did the DOC, he did the Above the Law. Off of that one drum machine, 10 seconds sampling time.
That's all you had,
and did
man.
Classics, okay? Today, you got hours of sampling time. And where are all the classics at? I feel the music got worse.
Yeah, I mean, I understand you exactly. It got worse because I don't know it, but this is my thought.
Yes.
You know, hip-hop is another version of funk that enhanced it. And I don't think the new generation knew how to enhance hip-hop, G-funk, gangster rap, whatever came after. It's like, they just made it like a continuation school. Just, hey, throw some shit right there and throw that, hey, we'll pass.
Right.
But they're getting paid. So it's like...
They're making more money than, if you will, the forefathers of hip-hop.
Exactly.
More money. And in a sense, man, you know, maybe this is just my personal opinion about this, and I want to state that. I almost think that it's almost not fair. Not necessarily for me, but to guys that laid the foundation for us in hip-hop and are struggling.
Yeah.
And then you got guys that tattoo their face, wear a haircut, popping pills. Yeah. They're making millions, bro.
Yeah. How the fuck does Tekashi got more money than Kumo D?
Yeah. How does that happen, bro?
Feel me?
How does Cash Me Outside get nominated for 3 Billboard Awards? Yeah. And I've never heard one song on the radio of hers.
Yeah.
How does that happen? So I'm still kind of baffled by that, man. But you know what? Moving on. So I began to produce the first High C album, Scandalous album. I named the album. I named some of the songs on there. Okay. And I even helped High C with some of the lyrics. So I'm not going to sit here and say I wrote, but I will say this or say something along that line. So I helped spark a lot of those
you're the
ideas.
Producer, you know
yes,
what I mean?
Yes.
That's just how it is.
And you know what? And I was just a youngster, man, learning how to put together a record by watching Dre and those guys.
With 10 seconds.
Yes, with 10 seconds, I produced that whole album. Now, soon after that is when I met DJ Quick. And I will say this. To me, I was just in New York, and I was asked my top 5 producers. Okay? Of course, to me, Dre was number 1.
Yes.
And I mentioned DJ Quick number 2.
Because he can rap and produce.
Oh, my God.
And he's live
awesome.
He's live instruments, too.
Yeah.
And shit.
Yes,
and DJ.
yes.
Yeah.
One thing I will never take that away from DJ Quick. You know, even if I don't like a certain person, if I think they're talented, I will never take that away from them.
Yeah.
Like, I know you guys had Mellow Mayonnaise not too long ago in here.
I did it. The other guys did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they asked me name some of the best artists you work with, and Mellow Mayonnaise was one of my top 5. And I'll tell you why. Because Mellow Mayonnaise is probably the most versatile rapper I've ever worked with. You want him to rap all in Spanish, you can. Now, he was a groundbreaker. He was a pioneer. We're talking about 87 when he rapped to a song called Mas Pingon. I remember I thought that shit was so hard. I played that shit at a wedding. And people just stopped to listen to the lyrics, you know. He did the Spanglish going back and forth like Mentirosa. Mm-hmm. He was doing reggaeton stuff before reggaeton even came in. I was producing that, which we'll get to that. And he was doing house music with Welcome to My Groove. He could rap just straight hip-hop, all in English. So to me, he was the most versatile rapper I have ever worked with. Now, keep in mind, up to this point, I did stuff with Dre, Easy Cube on the mixtapes. I worked with on records of High C, Second to None, AMG, DJ Quick, and all these guys went, platinum, gold.
Super.
Everybody knows these guys, dude.
I've even worked with, a lot of people don't know, with Tina Marie. I was close with Tina Marie for at least a good year. I used to collect vintage keyboards. My manager at that time, named Violet Brown, introduced me to Tina Marie back in 1996. I was working on a Mellow Man Ace album that was never released. And I still have it on 2-inch reels, which people wouldn't know.
Hey, his son's a producer now too, right? Or a DJ.
Yes. Dope producer, dope DJ. Much love and props to them. Mellow Man H is a pioneer, man. So much love to him. But back to what I was saying, I never take nothing away from people that are blessed and talented. DJ Quick was my second all-time producer.
He's fire. I've been saying that for years.
Yeah, and keep in mind, I've seen him, work on the drum machine, on a 10-second drum machine, and just in awe, man. Just in awe of his talent, So,
is it true that he used to rap on the Banging on Wax? Because remember, I heard that he used to rap on the Banging on Wax for the Pyros, Bloods and Crips.
Actually,
Banging on Wax, that album.
Look, he said this, and I somewhat back him up on this. He said he was the first one banging on tapes.
Yeah.
On
okay.
cassettes.
Yeah.
He had a tape called the Red Tape, which was just a demo. It wasn't necessarily a street tape, but it was just a demo. And on there, he had a song called Real Dope. It had Second to None, and with D and KK, and he had Quick, and that's where Quick dissed MC8 on a tape.
Oh, that's where it started.
And that's where it all started. MC8 heard about it, and then that's when the rest is history.
He clowned that fool. I'm gonna call you Theo because you weigh 92.3 pounds.
Yeah, Quick was dope, man. And I mean, I still have demos on cassette that that he did that never came out. Like, for an example, that song 8 Ball on the first album?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay, a lot of people weren't really feeling that song, but I'm going to tell you why I was feeling that song. Because when he gave me the demo to his first album, he had to take that song 8 Ball off because he had sampled Slipping Into Darkness by War.
Right.
Uh-huh.
I still have that version. Hopefully one day I'll get to release it.
Yeah.
So he had to go in there with a guitarist named Robert Bacon and replay it. Or didn't replay the sample, but they just came up with something original. But if he would have came out with that song with the sample
from the cassette,
from the cassette, it would have been another Tonight, another Born and Raised in Compton, bro.
Yeah, he was fire. He was ridiculous.
Maybe
history being said right here.
Yeah,
man.
maybe one day, if I'm ever welcome back here again, brother, I'll bring those songs, man.
Brother, the door's fucking open.
I'll bring those songs.
Hey, just don't get mad when I got my little recorder now.
Hey, man, it's all good,
that's what's up. Well, we're gonna drop some jams right now. We'll be back, everybody. Hey, if you have a question and you want to call in, the phone number 714-486-3391.
Jennifer Love in the house.
That's what's up. Hey, call us back. DJ West Coast Renegade. Let them know what's up.
Let's get it.
That's right, my boy. We back. Funk and Funny Tuesdays.
Yes, y'all.
Shit is going down. We got the Godfather in the house. I'm calling you the Godfather, dog, because it's like...
People don't know, man. Like...
You're my brother's age. My brother's 50 now, and I remember being in 5th, 4th grade, and they were playing your shit. They were playing, like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I remember being, like, in 5th grade and so jealous that my brothers were getting dropped off at Studio K.
Right.
Knott's Berry
Farm.
And that's where, like, I would say that was, like, Orange County, our little hip-hop spot of underground, but L.A. came and you guys DJ'd it. Like,
yeah.
Do you remember going to Studio K?
Yes. As a matter of fact, one of the guys who made that popular, at least in our area, in the harbor area, I grew up in the city of Wilmington, was a guy who came out of Wilmington, Boogaloo Shrimp.
Okay, Boogaloo Shrimp.
Michael Chambers, most people know him as Turbo.
Yeah, they used to party out here a lot.
Yes, a lot out here. So when I would go see him pop, because that was when it was the craze of popping was in, and then eventually breaking came in, etc.
Well, Beat Street was first, right?
Of course, Beat Street, Wild Style,
that was all East Coast, right? And then we had breaking on our side.
Yeah, they say Puerto Ricans made up breaking. That's like the big fight right now.
Well, let me tell you this, and this was told to me by a guy that lives in New York. He's close to being 60, and this story was told to him by Kool Herc, the godfather, if you will, of hip hop. They asked him, what inspired you to slow down, these break records? For an example, he would play like James Brown records, and a James Brown record would go like, let's just say James Brown would say, "Take me to the bridge," and you would hear a cat, 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 cat. He said all he would do was just slow it down, cat, cat. So now all of a sudden, these Latinos, these Puerto Rican kids, would just start bobbing their head, moving their shoulders, and that was the birth of hip hop.
Oh wow!
So he said what inspired him to continue to do that were Latinos.
Yeah.
So we really have been in the game since the very beginning.
Oh yeah.
Just never really given
credit or put out there, right?
Oh yeah, or
that's
being
crazy,
put out there,
man.
But yeah, this was and this was a Puerto Rican cat telling me this, that Kool Herc shared this story with them, that what inspired him to slow things down, it was because only on those drum breaks were the kids dancing even like hype, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy Breakbeat Lou eventually released, and I'm sure
he's still around. Fucking break, all those breaks come from this guy, dude.
All these breaks, ultimate breaks and beats.
Do you guys just fucking research on my DJs? Don't call yourself DJs if you guys don't know this shit, man.
Exactly. And the crazy thing is, the guy who introduced those ultimate breaks and beats to the West Coast was Steve Yano at the Roadium. In the 80s, you could only get them at the Roadium swap meets. Now, let me tell you a quick story about that. These ultimate breaks and beats were a collection of records that a guy named Lenny and a guy named Breakbeat Lou put together. They were created for the DJs, and the hip hop started with the DJs. Hip hop started with mixtapes, and then eventually the MC came in. Today's reverse, with the MC being first.
Yeah.
The who cares about the DJ type of deal. Now, so they created it for the DJs, for them to cut and scratch drum breaks, if you will. When Steve brought them down from the East Coast to the Roadium, he gave them to Dr. Dre. Okay, this story gets really interesting because Dr. Dre paid Steve and told him, "Do not sell them yet. Let me sample them." And that was the birth of the Straight Outta Compton album, the EAZY-E album, the DOC. I'll give you an example. That song "Funky Enough" by the DOC was a sample from the Ultimate Breaks and Beats.
Oh shit!
The song "Straight Outta Compton" was a sample from the Ultimate Breaks and Beats.
Yeah.
A song called "Nicety" by Michelle 8 was a sample off of Ultimate Breaks and Beats.
Dude, a lot of stuff came out of that.
Everything came out of the Ultimate Breaks and Beats. So Steve comes to my house and he says, "You and Dre are the only ones who have these," and he gave me doubles of all of them.
Oh shit!
So now here's another story to add to that. Ice Cube now leaves N.W.A. According to him, he's looking for a DJ. He calls up Steve, "Yo man, I want to hook up with your boy Tony A." He tells him where I live. He comes to my house in Wilmington, drives up. I start playing him beats. Okay, he likes some of them. And even though one of my beats appeared on his first album, I never said anything. Okay. So he asks me, "Do you have the Ultimate Breaks and Beats?" And I said, "Yeah, I have them right there. I got doubles of all of them." He goes, "How many of them are?" I said, 25. He said, "Can I borrow them?" Yeah. Never brought him back again, bro.
Damn.
He flew to New York. He hooked up with the Bomb Squad, Keith, Hank Shockley, and Jinx, and they produced the first album. And those were off my records, the Ultimate Breaks and Beats.
Fuck.
Damn,
You
dude.
know? So somehow I had a little hand in that.
Oh yeah, I mean, damn, you need a lawyer, dog. What the fuck? they didn't have those back then.
No, Jacoby and Meyer
it.
and Larry H. Parker didn't fight for me back then,
Saying,
bro.
you think that's why you named it Jacking for Beats?
Yeah, Jackie for Beats, bro.
Right.
Exactly. Bro.
I got a question. As a comedian, we always tend to feel we know everything, right? And at the Comedy Store, the last biggest argument with all comedians is what is the best diss track ever.
Oh, that's hands down, bro. I'll tell
No
you right
Vaseline?
now. No Vaseline. No Vaseline, and that was produced by Sir Jinx.
Yeah, like, hey, I tell everybody, Ice Cube took down N.W.A.
Yes.
That Jay-Z, Nas,
No,
Ether,
don't compare.
No, I mean, Hit 'Em Up is different. Hit 'Em Up is a little more passionate, but like, No Vaseline is saying everything that these fuckers did wrong. What's
you
going on?
can gangbang to that song. You could dance to that song. You can rap that song. You can. It's the number one diss song ever. I interviewed Jinx, and we'll get into that a little bit. I interviewed Jinx for my documentary. Me and Jinx, that was the first record I ever recorded.
He sounds like a cool-ass cat, Jinx.
He really, really is, bro.
Ice Cube liked him a lot, right?
Yes, and keep in mind, that's Dre's cousin, and he produced that song for Ice Cube to diss his cousin Dre.
Yeah, dude. Look at it like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right there, and guys. That song broke up the group.
Yeah, it was done.
It was done. It was a done deal, bro. Put a fork in it. Now, let me name a couple of other tracks that a lot of people don't ever mention. They don't ever mention, like Dre Day.
Yeah, Dre Day is the shit.
Yeah, that was a diss track. And then Compton City G's.
Yeah, I remember Compton City G's.
Now here's another one, okay? If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
Yep.
That's another diss track.
Yeah, even the Cocaine one that he dissed on. Cocaine dissed Dr. Dre, Snoop, and they never did a comeback.
You know, I had heard because they didn't want to waste their time.
That song was fucking fire. What do you think of Cocaine?
You know what? I made Cocaine back in the day, Audio Achievements, before he had ever recorded anything.
Yeah?
Yeah, before he had ever recorded. You know who brought him in? A guy named Laylaw. He brought him in and said, I want to introduce you guys to my boy Cocaine. This was when Code 187 from yes, brought all the samples that he wanted Dre to put together his
for Ruthless Records, right?
For Ruthless Records. So I was there when they were sampling for Above the Law. And that's when I met Cocaine. I like Cocaine. I think he's a cool cat, man.
I think he's like, there's like a cholo in him to me.
Yeah, it is. You know what? There's a lot of cholos and a lot of blacks today, bro.
Yeah.
And a lot of blacks, because you know what? I won't tell you who told me this, okay? But this guy has managed a lot of artists, multi-platinum artists. He's a black man. And he told me this. He said, if you were to rent out the Forum, the Great Western Forum in LA, in Inglewood, he said, and if you were to get DJ Quick, Snoop, Ice Cube, and let's just say The Game, and you told every Mexican to stay home, he said 90% of that place will be empty.
Yeah, straight up.
Straight up.
Straight up. I'm a firm believer of that.
And that's what he said. He said, Mexicans, Latinos are the ones who support us.
Yeah.
I mean, think about this. We really took over oldies.
Straight up.
I mean, the majority of the time, I hang around with a lot of blacks. I go to Inglewood a lot. I go to Compton a lot.
It's in your work. It's what you do.
Yes, they don't listen to Mary Wells. They don't listen to Roger and Brandon Wood. They don't listen to Al Green anymore.
No.
You know, they'll listen to Luther. You know, that's all they'll listen to.
Maybe Al B. Shore.
R.I.P. to the Queen.
You know, and it's funny. We really have taken over all of that. You know, let's look at the last show that Pharaoh did. Mike, big up to Mike. He just did an oldies concert. All Latinos, all black artists.
Yeah, I just hosted Funk Fest.
Okay.
17,000.
Okay, and the majority were what?
It was bring a cholo, get in free night.
There you go.
Right? Yeah. More like bring a cholo, get 5 in.
Yeah.
There you go. Now, I know I'm jumping a little bit ahead. Right now, I'm working on a documentary. It's called the Roadium Mixtape documentary, speaking on those mixtapes that I did with Dre, Cube, Easy, Quick, etc. After that, I'm probably giving it away because there's been a lot of guys out there that have been biting my shit straight up. I'm just going to say it.
Nah, go ahead, my boy.
Okay. This one's going to deal with Chicano rap. There's nothing out there. Now, I will be honest with you. I'm not so much of a fan of Chicano rap. I like Chicanos rapping, but when you got these Chicanos that are trying to gangbang, and I just think it kind of makes us look bad because whenever they think Mexican, you know what most people think, like if you're from the East Coast, a short, bald-headed cholo dude.
Yeah.
That's what they think.
Stereotype on it,
yeah. When I went to New York, they thought I was Italian, Puerto Rican, Arabic. You know, that's what they thought I was.
Yeah, because they're like, how the fuck you big? How come you're not wearing flannel?
Yeah, exactly. So, but there is a huge market out for that, for the Chicano rap.
Oh, there's a monster.
Okay. Now, why hasn't there ever been a Snoop, a Game, or a Dr. Dre, or Easy Chicano?
I don't feel the people know how to put it out to the market yet, and a lot of raza doesn't really support raza. They're
Thank
more,
you.
I'm a witness of it.
Thank you. Now let me say this. This is not coming from me, but this is coming from a lot of major Chicano artists that have had gold and platinum records. And this is what he told me. Now, some of them differ, but the majority of them told me this. It's because we hate on each other.
Yeah. And plus, a lot of fools, like your mom's going to be like, why did you take me to see a cholo? Like, if I took my mom to watch Little Rob,
right,
she'd be like, "Este pinche cholo está cantando."
Yo, but isn't that a Latin thing?
Yeah,
isn't that a Latin thing in the comedy? I feel like it's they hate on each other a little bit.
It is a Latin. Look, first of all, I ain't Latin, dog. I'm Mexican.
You know
There's
what I mean?
nothing Latin about me. We never were on the island or nothing. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm Mexican, but as far as you bringing the Cubans, the Puerto Ricans, the Dominicans, and all them in the game of comedy, there's only hate is because we're so fucking new to this, and they haven't realized that there's enough money for everybody. That's what I tell people. Like, hey, I'm willing to help. Anybody that I see is going to be good and help. But if I can see you're an evil and you're a snake, of course I'm not going to help. I don't want to be bit either.
Let me give you an example of what I come across in hip hop when a Latino raps. The reason why I say Latino is because I was on Power 106 many years ago, and I said Mexican, and some girl called, hey, you know what? I'm from Guatemala. You know, so I just generalizing out Latinos.
Okay, well, I ain't in there, but go ahead.
I understand. I'm Mexican too, but for the public.
But you know what I mean, dog.
Of course, yes. Of course. So now, what happens is that, like, I'll give you an example. When Kid Frost came out in my neighborhood, they weren't like, that's a dope jam, La Raza. Nah. Here's what they said. Where's that fool from?
Yeah, exactly.
The first thing, huh?
Yeah,
first thing.
Yeah, they implemented that gang shit.
It's that Aztec blood in us.
Yes, bro.
Where's that from? The only rapper that I know that was Mexican back in the day, I'm a millennial. I was born in the 90s, was Lil Rob.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah. And what happened to Lil Rob? Summer nights, a little bit here and there.
He's still doing it, but
what happened?
I'm going to tell you what happened, dog. Yeah. It's like Mellow Man Ace, he's only known for Mentirosa. He has other albums out, but motherfuckers only want to feel that song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Little Rob doesn't want to make new shit because they're not feeling it, so he's making money on Summer Nights and the MB Rider shit. Dog, these fuckers tour with Lowrider.
Now let me say a little story about Little Rob, because the woman who was actually managing me at that time was a woman named Violet Brown. And do you guys remember the record store, The Warehouse?
Yes, I remember The
Warehouse. This lady had the power to make you go platinum overnight. For those of you who don't know what platinum is, I said in 1 million records. She could literally say, by tomorrow, you will be certified platinum. She had that power. Now, she contacted me one time. She said, do you know Little Rob? And I said, I recorded with him. Yes, I do. Do I know him really, really well? No, but I know who he signed to. And I won't mention that person's name. But I will say this. She said, get in contact with him. I believe that I can get him a major record deal because he moves units. He does sell.
He does, dog.
Yes. So what happened was I contacted him, and he said, I'm under contract with low profile records.
Right.
You talk to him. The person that I talked to said, I'm not letting him go, to make a long story short.
Yeah.
So that could have been the beginning of something big for him.
Huge.
Okay? But it never happened. It never happened.
And plus, hey, homie, like being in this comedy game is, I know why motherfuckers fell off. After you do one good song, you sit there and you wait home and you think people are going to call you. No.
You know what?
Excuse me, you got to push another album.
Yes.
You got to come hard.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because another Latin artist told me this. This person didn't agree with the hating part, but this person said, it's because we get too comfortable with the little success that we have.
Exactly.
So we relax. Meanwhile, other people are coming up.
Yeah.
And by the time we try to drop another album, it's like 2 years later.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of reasons, but I'm going to shine light on that on my next documentary.
Please do, brother, because you got me interested in. If you need me to talk, I'll fucking talk.
Most definitely, bro.
Hell yeah.
I have a question for Tony, man.
Yes, sir.
Kind of in that what we're just talking about, this is, I don't know, just coming from me, but why I feel that people overlook Tony A or don't know Tony A, as you've been around N.W.A, Quick, man, this catalog that you have, man, the resume you have under you,
it's insane.
And then yet a lot of it surprised me. I almost, my girlfriend, shout out to my girl. She was like, "Dude, you sound like you want to fight with me just because you're explaining it to me." And it's just dude, they gotta know, man.
Well,
you know what I mean? I know some people know, but there's a majority of people.
I think it goes along with what some person asked me a while back. They said, "Okay, you were in the midst of the ruthless days, of the N.W.A days,
and Death Row when it began."
Yes. And you were in the midst of the DJ Quick era, and the very beginning. You were in a perfect position to blow up. And they asked me, why do you think that never happened for you? And to me, honestly, the answer is very simple. Because when I started touring, I noticed that I was having children already. Well, number one, I was having children already. I already had a little boy and a little girl. And I wasn't spending so much time with them because I was traveling. Whenever I would go to a lot of these artists' homes, a lot of these artists really didn't know their kids. And I come from a Mexican family. Both my parents are from Torreon, Coahuila, Mexico. And my father raised us. We had 10 kids. He had 10 kids with my mother.
There.
Yeah, so, and he was always there. I mean, he used to drink a lot, but you know what? Crudo went off, he used to go to work.
Yeah,
okay, he went to work, hard worker.
Yeah.
So, I could say he drank, but he was a hard worker. So I learned that. One thing I never wanted to do, I never wanted my children to grow up not knowing me. So I took time off the music. Okay. So I was pretty much off the radar for a long time, for a little bit over 10 years, where I humbled myself and I even went out and got a job just so that my kids can have benefits. I coached my son in football. Mm-hmm. My son played football, well, Pop Warner, let's just say Pop Warner for 7 years. He went to 4 championships and 2 nationals.
Oh wow!
You know,
awesome.
And I was a part of.
Up, man.
Yeah, I was a part of his life.
Yeah.
You know, my other girls cheered, played soccer, etc. And I was a part of their lives. I wanted to father my kids. Now that they're grown up, now I'm back.
Oh, I hear
you. Know, I used to read on blogs and on Facebook because I was off of social media for years. Right. And they asked me, man, where you been? Where you been? And I just said, look, man, I'm just back now.
Being a dad, fool.
Being a dad.
Tony, hey, man, right here inside fucking Funny Tuesdays, a Curious Radio, man.
That's how we fucking get down.
It's a dope blessing, brother, to have you. It's an honor to have you here, man. Like me as a DJ, you know what I mean? Like I knew Tony A, the Wizard, man. I know the Wizard Tony A.
Straight up.
Thank you, brother.
There's only one other fool I know named the Wizard, and he grew up by us, and he was 12 years old, dog, and he already knew how to forge like fake signatures on baseball players.
Damn.
And I remember he'd be like, "Hey, dog, give me that Wally Joyner. We're gonna get $5.
Give me
right
a Sandy Koufax, that Michael Jordan."
Yeah. But I wanted to ask you something, because like I got that cholo look, but I love music. Like, hey, you would trip out on the shit I know. A lot of people don't know that the West Coast, what you did, influenced Too Short, and Banks, Mac Dre, Mac Mall. Like, how are those fools trying to get into LA? Because like I heard the story that LA didn't give the Bay that much love, right? Or
you know what it was? It was funny because the first artist that I ever heard from the Bay Area was introduced to me by Dr. Dre. Mm-hmm. When he had Freaky Tales.
Yeah, Too Short.
Yes, when he dropped that record, I remember Dre tells me we were at Jinx's house, and he said, "This right here is about to blow up." And I remember he put it on a mixtape, and he actually even gave a shout out to Too Short on a mixtape. I still have that.
Man,
and he said, "This goes out to my boy Too Short for dropping this, blah blah blah. We're here at the Roadium," and he didn't even know Too Short yet. But
there was no internet back then. Everything had to be word of mouth, just from DJ. Like, hey, check out this record.
He had to page him.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's how I was introduced to the Bay Area. Really, I'll be honest with you. I like E40.
I love E40.
Yeah, I love E40. Sally Cell, if I'm correct.
Sally Cell, hell yeah.
All of them guys came out, but for some reason, bro, even though, my opinion again, hip hop started in New York, DJing or cutting and scratching and breaking. LA, California, mastered it, bro.
Oh, straight up.
Straight up, bro.
Straight up.
Let me tell you something. The best breaker in the 80s that I ever met in the world was a guy from South Central LA. His name was Orko. He was a Mexican guy. I met him at Radiotron. The first time I ever got to see Tony G spin. Orko. Orko, yes. I saw this guy spin on his head for days, doing windmills, taking off his shirt, taking off his pants, all of that. And then he was invited by Rocksteady Crew New York to go out there.
Yeah, Rocksteady's no joke.
When he came back, he told me the truth. He goes, "Between me and you, I tore them all up, bro." He said, "I tore them all up. None of those guys can hang with me." The best breaker at that time in the world was a Mexican guy, and his breaking name was Orko. To me, the best DJ in the world, and during the 80s, DJ Joe Cooley.
Joe Cooley is a fucking beast, dude.
That's the guy who taught me, bro. That's the guy who taught me. Let me see. Tell my boy to come over here. But now, let me share something with you real quick, okay? Because I gotta say this, okay? I've always been blessed, bro, with who I knew. Mm-hmm. Okay, growing up, when I wanted to learn how to pop,
right?
I met because he's from my neighborhood, Boogaloo Shrimp, Michael Chambers Turbo.
OGB
He
boy,
taught me how to pop, okay?
Breaking, dude. This is history, dog.
When I wanted to learn how to DJ as a young teenager, I met DJ Joe Cooley. That was my mentor. Damn. I learned from the best. When I wanted to learn how to produce, number one was Dr. Dre. Number two was DJ Quick. Okay?
Yes. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Okay, and now that I'm filming and directing, I met John motherfucking Elkins right here. That's my boy right there.
That's what's up.
Let me tell you something. This guy right here, editing, he does art designs, he does websites, filming, he does it all, bro. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be doing this documentary that I'm doing right now.
No, that's what's. Hey, homie, it happens, dog. It's like you're that genie bottle that we rubbed later. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
You had to be rubbed later to let everybody know, like, hey, homie. It's very weird that you're the Raza point of view of this. I don't know if you know this, but you're like, I can't look at it through Dre's eyes. I can't look at it. I can look at it through your eyes. When you're telling me this shit, I'm just like, I could just imagine you being the only homie in there with fucking dickies on that are creased with cuffs.
Yeah.
Everybody else is sagging and they got fucking, you know what I mean?
Like we got a representative.
Right.
Like you're not going in there like that. You're from Wilmington, dog.
Right.
Like you're walking into this place and you're about to DJ and everybody's like, you look like the fool that jumped me.
Yes.
Right?
You know what's funny, bro? Because I know the fans out there, many of them love to see us or our own succeed. The fans do.
Fuck yeah, they do.
I remember doing a up north tour. It was me, High C, Lighter Shade of Brown.
I like my boys right there.
Frost. Okay, we did a lot of shows, and here am I, sitting on my turntables, plugging them in, getting ready to DJ for High C, and people on the audience that are looking at me set up, they never asked me, hey, how tall are you? Or, hey, how much money are you making? Or, hey, are you the producer? Here's what they said, hey, are you Chicano? And I was like, yeah, I'm Mexican. They said, all right.
Yeah.
That was weird to me, man. But at the same time, it was dope. It was dope because that was the beginning, if you will, of us coming up.
No, it is.
You know.
Straight up.
So,
I'm witnessing it. Like, I perform at clubs where there's only like, I look at the calendar, I'm like, there's only 3 Mexicans this year. But then I'm realizing, you know what, motherfucker, you're in Kentucky.
yeah.
Recognize your game now and go in this motherfucker harder.
Yes.
Because I could imagine the white boys going like, oh shit, I'm in East LA, damn, I'm the only white boy over here.
Right.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, let's
That's
drop
dope.
some fucking jams, dog, because I definitely want to come back and talk a little more. Are we good? Are we ready to go on some jams?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm ready to roll.
I'm waiting for someone to call in. 714-486-3391.
We got Tony A, the Wizard, in the house, man. True pioneer in the game, dude.
Y'all
You
fools
guys gotta
ain't ready.
get that name, man.
Hey, next person to call in gets 4 tickets
Woo!
to Feed Me Sundays. It's your boy right here, George Perez, on Funky Funny Tuesdays, DJ West Coast Renegade. Show them how we do it, my boy.
Yes, sir.
What's up, my boy? We back on Funky Funny Tuesdays.
Yes.
We got the Wizard in the building. So, hey, doggy, you're working on a documentary, you said.
Yes. I've been on it now for 1 year. People have been asking me when's it going to come out. It's going to be out this year.
And what's it called again?
The Roadium Mixtape Documentary.
And those are the tapes that you got from
Yes.
New York.
No, I'm sorry.
No,
These
this is
are
where
tapes
you
that were
started.
produced by Dr. Dre and by me.
Okay.
They featured Ice Cube, EAZY-E, Ren, DJ Quick, IC, AMG.
Are these songs going to be on this?
Yes, they're all freestyles.
Okay.
And what they're saying is Tony A's on the turntables. We're at the Roadium with my man Steve.
Man,
And these were exclusives that you could only buy at the Roadium Swap Meet. Now, keep in mind, we didn't know that everybody on those mixtapes were going to blow up.
So this is before that time. This is before anybody blew up. This
Yes.
is all these tracks coming out to the documentary.
What makes somebody may say, well, why this documentary? Well, what makes this so unique, because this is a part of West Coast history. Everybody hears the Snoops, the Dr. Dre's, the N.W.A story, but this is before that.
Yeah.
Almost like the prequel to Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah.
Right. Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
Because they were on these tapes. Even Sir Jinx rapped on them. Even
shit, he rapped?
Yes. Even Crazy D rapped on them.
Okay.
Before they were ever on vinyl. And so every one of these artists that appear on these cassettes eventually went on to sell gold or platinum records. Every single one. Damn. Now, nobody else can say that. Nobody else can say that. And let me just say this. Me being Mexican, my son actually pointed this out. He said, Dad, you know, you're probably the only Mexican in the world that ever did mixtapes with these guys.
Yeah,
like that.
He said, you're the only one. And I'll be honest with you, I've always considered myself to be a modest and a humble dude. I don't go around bragging a lot.
Yeah.
Okay? But he said that, and I just wanted to point that out, you know, in this interview, what my son shared with me. And it's true.
So it's true, man. I really don't think, like, there's nobody else that I've heard that really been in between all these artists.
I mean, I'm sure people can say, well, yeah, I rap with EAZY, but who can say they had EAZY, they had Cube, and they had Dre in their bedroom?
Yeah.
You know,
there's a couple hyenas.
Who can say that they were sampling fucking learning the sample make beats on the fucking floor with Dr. Dre?
Exactly. You know, it's funny. Dre, EAZY, and a guy named L.A. Dre, rest in peace, one day came to my house because it was time for them to rap on this mixtape. EAZY-E rapped on a tape called Recop, and so did Dre. He rapped on a tape called Recop. So they came down, and I remember my mom was watching novelas, okay, and all my brothers and sisters were laying on the floor, all covered up, you know, and EAZY and Dre are hopping over them just to get to my room. You know, it's weird because they pull up record crates and they sit there to grab some paper and a pen, and they start writing their raps. It's funny because EAZY actually wrote a rap. People always say, you know, Ice Cube wrote for him, but
did he write after Ice Cube left?
Yeah, he wrote. Okay. Not a lot, but he did write. He wrote for my mixtapes. He did, and so he would rap on them. And for me to sit there, you know, and I lived in a broke ass home, man. I mean, it's not like I came up like I was rich. My dad had 10 kids, so you know. So, but they came, man, and they rapped. But I guess my point is, who else can say that, man? Now looking back, I was just blessed and fortunate to be amongst that elite crowd. That every single one of those guys went gold or multi-platinum, bro. You know. But so this documentary is based on that. I'm shedding light on West Coast hip hop history that has never been told. So this will be something new for the West Coast. Yes. So from here on out, people around the world will know who is Steve Yano, who is Tony A, and what was a Roadium mixtape. Now, this documentary features people like Mr. Cartoon. Everybody has heard of Mr. Especially if you're Latino, if you're Mexican.
Straight up.
He's from the Harbor area, from area of San Pedro. Now,
best artist in the world.
Yes. A lot of people don't know that he got his start at the Roadium Swap Meet.
Oh, no? What did he do there?
That's what's
Airbrushed?
Airbrushed.
Yeah, I kind of heard something.
Yeah, so he was right in back of Steve's stand. So he heard of me, and he would go and buy my mixtapes.
Oh, wow.
I had a chance to meet him. I remember Mr. Cartoon once told me, he said, hey, man, if I airbrush some shirts for you, would you wear them to your shows or when you go DJ and let them know that Mr. Cartoon did it? So in a sense, I was somewhat sponsored by Mr. Cartoon early on. You know, so that in itself was a blessing. So I contacted him, and he was so excited to do this documentary.
That's awesome.
I had got Warren G. Warren G used to say that he used to go to the Swami and he used to tell Steve, I want to rap on your mixtapes. And Steve used to tell him, well, man, I don't think you're that good. Then it was funny. He told him that. He goes, Warren G told me, he goes, man, I even had a name drop. I had to tell him, you know, I'm Dr. Dre's brother.
Yeah.
And Steve told him, yeah, but you're not Dr. Dre. You know? So he shared that story. Lonzo from the World Class Wrecking Crew, he knew Steve.
Lonzo?
Yes.
Hey, is he really a culo like they put him in the movie?
Let me tell you something. No, he is a cool dude.
Okay.
Lonzo is a cool dude, man. Clientele from the World Class Wrecking Crew, he's the one that he rapped Dr. Dre in Surgery. Man, there's just so many. Arabian Prince, Panic Zone from N.W.A, one of the early members of N.W.A.
You have Proper Dose in there.
Yes. Ernie G,
Ernie G.
From Proper Dose. He came in because we were label mates. He was signed to Scandalous Records. He shared his memories of Steve Yano.
So who was the head of? I mean, not to cut you off, but who held Scandalous Records?
Steve Yano. That was his record label.
Damn. So now, from the Swap Meet to a record label.
From the Swap Meet to a record label. Now, let me say this, because this is history that has never been told. Steve Yano is responsible for introducing Dr. Dre to EAZY-E.
Oh wow.
Okay, they didn't meet like you know,
in the movie, how they say
like in the movie. They actually met in the movie after Steve introduced them on a 3-way call.
Okay.
That's when EAZY-E went to that club and met him. But who set that up, Steve? Who was the lawyer who got them a deal when nobody else wanted to touch him? Jerry Heller, being a Jewish man. By the way, he was our lawyer, mine and Mellow Man Ace, between 96 to 98. So I got to know Jerry Heller personally. But instead of the Compton, they're not going to say it all started with a Japanese and a Jew.
No.
Yeah.
No. Okay?
No. That's crazy. I mean, that's some real fucking
that's the
right
paperwork that started it off.
Okay. And if anybody wants to challenge me, you know, you can contact me. I'm on Instagram, Tony A. The Wizard. I don't care. I'll tell you the truth. Okay? So now Dr. Dre was leaving the World Class Wrecking Crew, and he told Steve, open up a record label. You know, open up a record label. Steve was a little bit leery. Now, he hadn't heard Boys in the Hood yet. He was a little bit leery. He says, but I know a DJ that wants to open up a record label, and that was EAZY-E. A lot of people don't know EAZY-E was a DJ.
Oh, yeah?
Damn. He didn't rap. Who did he used to buy his records from? Steve at the Roadium.
Okay.
So he said,
Steve Yano,
yes, I'll introduce you to him. So they met on a 3-way call. EAZY-E wanted to do something with his dope money. Dre wanted to do something by him leaving, you know, the World Class Wrecking Crew. Now, here's another one, and I have not been able to get in contact with him. His name is RDT. He actually had a stand set up inside Steve's booth at the Roadium. He used to do airbrushing. When he finally came up with a record label named Ruthless, EAZY-E asked him, do us a logo, Ruthless. He did the Ruthless logo that you see on records by a Mexican guy.
And this was just freehand?
Freehand.
RDT?
And I've been trying to get a hold of him, and nobody knows where he's at, because I wanted to interview him for this.
That would be perfect.
And give him the credit for making the Ruthless logo by a Mexican guy. You know?
So what's up.
So there's a lot of history there. Now, very quickly, let's look at the whole N.W.A. From there, Dre goes to the Chronic, the Death Row,
right.
The Snoop. Then you have the Dog Pound. Then you have Warren G. Yes,
Nate Dogg.
Then eventually you have Eminem, 50 Cent. Okay, all of the, let's just say even Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
If you trace all that back, it all comes back to the Roadium Swap Meet.
Yeah.
It all comes back.
Steve Yano.
And you know what? And I was blessed and fortunate to be there in the very beginning and see it.
Yeah. Hey, brother, that's...
So this is being documented now.
Yeah, we need this story.
Yeah, and you know who actually shares that family tree, if you will?
Who's that?
Warren G.
Oh,
He shares it. He said, I'm a part of that branch that leads back to the Roadium Swap Meet. And
where was the Roadium Swap Meet located?
in the city of Gardena off of Redondo Beach Boulevard. Most people say it's Torrance, but it's kind of like border.
Okay.
Torrance and Gardena, but everybody knows that it's Gardena Swap Meet.
Okay.
So this documentary is about 2.5 hours long. We set out to do only an hour long, but so many people wanted to contribute to be in it.
Now, in the movie Straight Outta Compton, they go to Gardena to make the first record. Is that the same place they go to?
No, that was Torrance.
That's
Torrance. Okay.
Yes, Torrance. Old Torrance off of Cabrillo Beach Boulevard. If anybody wants to go there. But let me say that Big Citric, big ups to Big. He's also in the documentary.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Big Citric. He's in it because he knew Steve, because he was trying to get a record deal. He wanted Steve to sign him.
Oh, yeah. We have my homeboy Big Citric.
I've known Citric since they've been with Browntown. John, help me out here, man. Who else do we have on here? Because there's like 20 people on there. Rhythmatic from the Beat Junkies.
Ooh.
He knew Steve Yano.
Okay.
Of course, High C. Of course, AMG. Of course, Second to None. Calvin Anderson, the owner of VIP Records. He knew Steve. Man, there's a lot of
Where's
people on
Steve
there.
right now?
Now, sad to say, Steve Yano passed away several years ago.
Sorry.
He had a freak accident. And for those who may not know how it all happened, he actually fell off a ladder.
Oh, shit.
And he cracked his skull. He had trouble breathing, and they pretty much, to make a long story short, he had unplugged him. Okay. So I was compelled, as a 50-year-old man now that I am, to make a documentary so that his name would not get lost in history.
Yeah, that's dope, man. I don't think anybody out here, like, even I even agree with myself. I didn't know who Steve Yano was until I started hearing like the tapes and everything. I'm like, dude, like, and then that's what recently that I put a picture to that, and I was like, dude, that's crazy. And then here you are telling a history that hasn't been told or is told as it should be. They just know EAZY-E, Dr. Dre, they don't know Steve Yano, man, with the with the credit should really be at. And here we have somebody in front of us, Tony A the Wizard, man, fucking legend, and here you are speaking this history, dude. That a lot of people don't know about it.
Thank you, brother. You know what's funny, man, because 2006, quick story, I was on MySpace. That's how old we are. There was a guy from New York that hit me up and he said, "Hey, man, are you Tony A the Wizard?" Because that's what I had on my MySpace. And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Are you the Tony A the Wizard?" And I said, "Well, yeah." He said, "I thought you were black." And I said, "No, I've been Mexican since the day I was born." Yeah. So he said, "I'm going to fly in and I'm going to meet you." He said, "Because it's because of you that I'm DJing." He said, "I'm from Harlem, New York." So I was like, okay, I didn't really believe him. So I gave him my number. He calls me when he lands, okay? And he said, "Why don't you come on down? I want you to meet somebody." So I go to meet him in Hollywood. He introduces me to many members of the Wu-Tang Clan.
Shit,
I met Raekwon. And he said, "I DJ for Raekwon." Yes, he said, "I DJ for 50 Cents. I DJ for Cameron, for Cassidy." I didn't know that his name is DJ Toro out of New York, out of Harlem, New York. He tells me like this, "It is because of people like you and DJ Red Alert from New York is why I'm DJing." He said, "In 1988, I heard your mixtape 88 Booming Bass. And from there, I wanted to be a DJ. Was because of you." Now, I influenced and I inspired somebody in New York. Now, I'll be honest with you, man. I was humbled when he told me that story, man.
Hell yeah.
That's dope, dude, because, I mean, you gotta understand the era. We're not with no... Here, let me share it.
Plus, Harlem and us really don't have a clique.
So I just came from Harlem. I'm staying with him, and I got to see where he stayed, where he said, "I listened to your tape."
Oh wow,
that was
man. You know what? It's crazy because you're one of the DJs that from the people that do know you, brother. Like you were blending oldies, funk, and rap, all on your mixtapes, bro. And there's like everybody was like, you were the only guy doing that. Like, this guy was the only fucking guy doing that.
People ask me, what made you do that? I just liked the music, and I played everything. You know, look at my background. I started DJing at noon dances in junior high school, and then I did proms, then eventually backyard parties, then eventually halls, then eventually quinceañeras, weddings. I even DJed a few divorce parties, and then eventually clubs, and then eventually halls. And today you got guys that go straight to the stadium and are making thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And let's be honest, many of them that never even paid dues, bro.
Nah, that's just true, like that song by Sir Jinx where you got to pay dues.
Yeah, they pay dues. Yes, Dub C in the Mad Circle.
Dub C in the Mad Circle, pay dues. Well, hey, Doggy Dog, we're running out of time, but we're going to play some jams right now. Where can all my fans follow you?
On Instagram, my name is Tony A the Wizard. You spell the with D-A. Capital D, or not necessarily capital, just D-A. Tony A the Wizard on Instagram. Follow me on there for all the latest things, latest updates on the Roadium Mixtape documentary, or you can go on YouTube, and my YouTube page is called Tony Vision. Tony Vision. But follow me on Instagram. On my bio is the link to my website. Everything you need to know about me and this documentary is on there. And once again, I want to thank Curious Radio. Thank you for having me. It's been a tremendous blessing being here.
That's what's up.
Man, I gotta get a round of applause. Everybody, Tony A's in the house, brother. Thank you for taking the time out of your day, brother. Coming out here, shedding a lot of history knowledge. Like, I'm fucking overwhelmed. I'm a fan. I can say I'm starstruck, brother, because I know and shit, dude. And it's just like, we needed to tell your story. And, dog, like, this is history, man. So, you know what I mean? I'm definitely looking forward to the documentary. And do you have a release date for that yet?
Well, as of right now, we're kind of stuck in between because we're trying to seal up a deal with Netflix. If we seal the deal with Netflix, then we're not going to be able to sell it because it's going to be an exclusive.
Exactly.
If we decide to go the other route and just release it ourselves, then our date would be late October, early November.
Okay.
But we're stuck in the middle, you know, of where we're going to go. All depends on what Netflix offers us.
Yeah, if Netflix offers the right money, they own it for 3 years and then they get it back.
Exactly. So that's where we're at. But
looking forward to it, man. That's some great history, the untold history, brother. And
thank you, man.
What a way to be told by a humble guy right here, man.
Yes,
thank you, brother.
That's what's up. Hey, everybody, I will be at the Comedy Store Thursday, 10 o'clock, Joe Rogan and Friends. Friday, I'll be at the Comedy Store. Saturday, I'll be at the Comedy Store. Sunday, I'll be at the San Jose Improv, 7 o'clock. Me, Martin Moreno, Birdman, Chris Storin, Sidic Eddie, and that's how it goes down. Hey, epic night. Thank you guys for listening. Maybe the phone battery was fucked up. I don't know. Nobody called. Well, fuck it. That's how it is. Hey, Doggy Dog, you want to lead us out with some jams?
Yeah, I got some tracks right here that we have from Tony A. Dude,
you got Here's to You on there? Here's to You?
Here's to Yeah, sure I do.
That one featuring Frost, my boys from Lawless. Slow Pain.
Let's get it.
1996.
Danger.